Hello and welcome to the Dirty Side of the Grid podcast. My name is Yusuf and this is my co-host Mohammed. And we've turned up late to qualifying, but mafia, so we're at the front of the grid. see. That's fun. That's good.
Incredible. Nice.
Yeah. Anyways, today is the season has ended. Max has won, and this is our first episode post everything really. Talking about kind of what has happened, the consequences of the way the season ended, and then kind of what's going to happen in the future. And then we're going to give a quick intro at the end of kind of what you can expect over the winter break in terms of like content and
Alright, yeah. So obviously this is we're university students. It's the end of term, so we're a little bit behind in terms of news and stuff. So at the time of recording, we've had Mercedes now withdraw their appeal, and everyone's been, reacting to that essentially. I guess, what do you think?
I think they had to. I think they would have won if it had gone to court.
That's what Tosa said.
But I think it would have looked bad on Mercedes, bad on Lewis, and bad on the sport in general. So I think at the end they're like, we do get the championship, but then we become kind of like the most hated team on the grid, isn't it?
You think that would have happened?
Yeah. I think that all the fans would have hated him. Like, if they got it in court, I think it would have ruined Lewis's legacy in terms of everything he's achieved. Because now Lewis is seen by most people as kind of the guy who's like, he's not the underdog.
Oh,
like,
I sort of see that now.
Yeah, the FIA essentially screwed him over and this. But if it's the other way around and he took the championship like 2 or 3 months later, he's gonna be the most hated driver in like the history of the sport. So yeah, I'm glad they didn't do it because I think they would have won. So I think it would have looked bad on kind of the sport and them on everyone really. What about you?
It's tough, yeah. It's because it would have been a lose-lose realistically. Because Lewis Hamilton,
Exactly.
if the rules weren't broken, he would have won it. Which means that if they go and take it back, it's within their right to do so. It's just obviously, it gives the fans the opportunity to say, he's been given the best car, he's won all of these championships through no skill and all of this, and now he's just going to go up and win it in the courtroom.
The funny thing is the fans that always say, he can't drive, he's been given the best car, are the fans that essentially can't even drive a normal car, let alone jump it out.
No, they're so young they haven't seen him drive.
Not even that, like, the older fans, they can barely drive a normal car, and they're like, I can drive an F1 car, it'd be so good. Boy, what are you talking about? You can't get off the couch, and then you think you're going to sit in an F1 car and handle the brakes. What are you talking about? You're experiencing like 5 Gs. No one's going to handle that.
True, yeah. People definitely don't realise how... I think there's arguments they don't even like. Certain people, they don't even consider it a sport. Like when you say F1's a motorsport,
they don't know what they're talking
they
about.
don't even realise.
They don't. If you say F1's not a sport, you have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah,
honestly.
completely.
The amount of kind of conditioning they have to go through and the amount of kind of the forces they have to go to, I don't think any sport in the world, they lose 2 kilos in like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
No, yeah, there isn't. I'm trying to think of one they don't,
Yeah,
and it's
like the closest one in terms of like impact would be rugby. But it's a very different form of impact because someone's actually tackling you down, whereas with F1, the forces on your neck are just incredible. Like 5 times you're just like, because you have the helmet on, so that adds like say 10 kilos or whatever. So that's just all pushing, like, and then pushing, and it's insane.
It's different, yeah.
And they don't realize it's 50 degrees, like 50 degrees Celsius in that car. Because the engine's literally right behind you. So it's not just the forces, it's hot, as in it's hot. Yeah. If they F1's a sport, they have no clue what they're talking about. Like, even the braking pressure, like to brake on, like push on the brakes.
Yeah.
Like there was this one YouTuber was talking about it. I don't know if you know him, bald guy, English.
I remember it because he was an actual driver as well.
Yeah, he was talking
Not
about
like
how
F1 or anything, but he was like a
yeah,
racer.
he drives cars. Like his whole channel is on like cars and all of that. And he was talking about how like when he got into the Renault F1 car from a few years back, and basically he stepped on the braking. And then, he went back, he's like, I stepped on the brakes and then my head went forward.
Yeah, so he was doing a couple laps and he said, you know what, I'm
is
going to
on
hit the
his
brakes
first
as hard as I can. That's what he said.
Yeah, and when he did that, he went back, the engineers were like, oh yeah, good, you just got 40% brake pressure. So a guy who stepped on the brakes with like the hardest he could. The guy who's raced before has only achieved 40% brake pressure. Meanwhile, they have to achieve like 100% brake pressure.
Like 5 times a lap, and you know, for 90 minutes straight.
Imagine, bro. If you say that, and it's not even like for most drivers, it's not even they're right-footed. They're not left-footed. So this is actually your weak foot. You're braking with your weaker foot, and you expected to put down this amount of pressure. They do use like their body a bit, like let you shift a bit so you can press more. But that's not. You're not getting that amount of force every lap. That's insane, to be honest. I think people who say F1's not a sport don't appreciate the amount of kind of conditioning and the amount of what the drivers go through.
Especially the engineering as well. That's the thing that keeps F1 from literally every other sport. The money, the engineering, like it's different. And that's definitely what, speaking to new fans now, that's what a lot of them, like that was the driving force to get a lot of them into the sport. They said they like the engineering, they find it really interesting how intricate the strategies are, the cars are. And to explain it, we will actually come up with a series as part of the winter break. We'll mention a few of the ideas at the end of what we've got coming up, but explaining F1 in terms of the engineering side, the racing side, just the pure basics, and then the people involved. We'll have a series coming out about that to help people get into next year. But back to